Two identical houses, same size, same age, same price. One owner pays $800 a year. The other pays $9,000. Neither of them chose this. The difference is a line on a map, and it decides how much homeownership actually costs. How big is the gap? Property tax is the one housing cost nobody negotiates. It arrives every year, it rises, and it never finishes. The typical American household pays about $3,100 a year, according to Census Bureau figures on owner-occupied homes. But a national average hides everything interesting. The real story lives in the distance between the top and the bottom. New Jersey sits at the top with a median annual bill of $9,358. West Virginia sits at the bottom, $881. Alabama is next at $890. That is a gap of more than 10 times on a cost that never goes away as long as you own. Spread over a 30-year mortgage, that difference is larger than the price of many of the houses involved. And the extremes get stranger. In some counties, the Census Bureau refuses to print the real number at all, not because it is secret, because their system stops counting at a certain point, and those counties went past it. We will come back to that. First, the mistake almost everyone makes when they compare two states. Rate versus bill. There are two different numbers people call the property tax, and confusing them will cost you real money. The first is the effective rate, the share of your home's value you pay each year. The second is the bill, the actual dollars leaving your account. They do not always agree. Hawaii has the lowest effective property tax rate in America, roughly 0.27%. That sounds like paradise for a homeowner. It is not, and the reason is the second number. Hawaii's median home value passes $800,000. A tiny rate on a huge value is not tiny. The median Hawaiian bill lands above $2,000, higher than states charging 4 times the rate. Alabama runs the opposite way, a low rate, low home values, and a median bill under $900. So the rate tells you how a state treats property. The bill tells you what you will actually pay, which raises the obvious question. Why does one state need triple what another does for the same public services? Where the money actually goes. Property tax is not really a state tax. It is the money that keeps your town physically running. In recent census figures, property taxes made up about 70% of all local tax collections nationwide. Schools, police, fire departments, road crews, libraries, nearly all of it is funded from the same line on your bill. Schools dominate. In most high-tax states, public education is paid for almost entirely by local property owners. That single design choice explains most of the map. Where schools lean on property, rates climb. Hawaii proves it from the other direction. Its schools are not funded primarily through local property taxes. The state runs a single statewide school system and leans on other revenue, including money from tourists. Visitors help pay for classrooms. Residents keep the lowest property tax rate in the country. It is the same public service, funded by a different group of people, and the map shows the difference. Which brings us to the state that took the opposite approach as far as it can possibly go. Chapter 4. The 564 Problem. New Jersey is not the most expensive state by accident, and it is not simply greed. The explanation is a number most residents have never heard about their own state. 564. That is how many separate municipalities New Jersey contains, inside a state you can drive across in 2 hours. Each one has its own government. Layered on top are more than 600 school districts. Every one of those units needs an administration, a budget, a superintendent, and a payroll. Services that a single county could provide once are instead provided hundreds of times side by side. Nobody designed this to be expensive. It accumulated over centuries, one town charter at a time. But the arithmetic is unforgiving, and it lands on the property tax bill of every homeowner in the state. 11 of the 20 most expensive counties in America are inside this one small state. And that ceiling in the data? 8 American counties have crossed it. The census simply records $10,000 and stops. Chapter 5. The Tax That Moved. So high property taxes buy you dense local government and well-funded schools. There is another reason they climb. Some states do not tax your income at all. Texas, Florida, Nevada, Wyoming, South Dakota, Washington. That money still has to come from somewhere. And in most of those states, it comes from property. Texas has no income tax and one of the highest effective property tax rates in the country. The tax bill did not disappear when you moved there. It moved from your paycheck to your house, which is fine if you earn a lot and own little, and painful if you own a home and earn modestly. Retirees feel this most sharply. Income falls, the house stays, and the bill keeps arriving every year. California went a different direction entirely, with a law passed in 1978 called Proposition 13. It caps how fast assessed values can rise, so long-term owners pay on a value frozen decades ago. Two neighbors, identical houses, wildly different bills. One bought in 1980, one bought last year. Chapter 6. The number that actually matters. Everything so far compared states. But you do not pay a state property tax. You pay a county one. Inside a single state, county rates can differ by 10 times, and that is where the real decisions live. Camden County, New Jersey runs above 3% of home value. The national county average sits near 0.9%. Moving 30 minutes can change your annual bill more than choosing a different state ever would. One thing did change recently. In 2026, the federal deduction for state and local taxes rose sharply. For homeowners who itemize in high-tax counties, that quietly returned thousands of dollars a year. Property tax is the cost of the ground under the house, not the house. It is the price of a place. And electricity behaves exactly the same way. 4 times the price, same country. That map is next.